So I am Perez-Breva. I teach and do research at MIT about innovating. One of the classes I teach is I-Teams, where we take MIT technologies and try to answer a very simple question: how do we change the world with that? And this class has been going on for about 10 years, which I've been teaching. We have seen over 170 technologies from all domains and educated students from all disciplines and all levels of seniority, from mid-career executives to undergraduates. And the premise is that this is a space that belongs somewhere in between all of the schools at the Institute. So we welcome students from science, from engineering, from business, and we teach them how to actually work together to solve meaningful problems. I've recently published a book called Innovating that summarizes my experience with that class, as well as with many courses I've actually in programs I've built worldwide. We built a new university in Russia, we built new programs in Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Portugal, all of which are based on this different way to looking at innovating to solve real-world problems. One of the objectives of my book was to make it accessible to absolutely everyone. And much like what I teach serves students from all disciplines, the book needed to be accessible to anyone, no matter their background, which meant I needed to write it in English, not a dialect of English like business dialect or engineering dialect. It's a book for everyone to read. It had to be written with clean and concise English where people can actually approach it. It needed to be written with stories like you like to read, not case studies. And perhaps the most important thing is that I want everybody to enjoy the book and have joy out of it, and to make it more joyful to own instead of actually just trying to create diagrams and charts, which I could have used to explain the content. What I tried to do was help visual readers also enter the book. And I work with an illustrator, a local illustrator here in Cambridge called Nick Fuhrer, to figure out a visual summary for each chapter. So when you actually encounter the book, you get to experience the chapter visually, through the artwork, through the text, and the prose, which is plain, and it reads easily. And also, at the end, with another illustration that fuses the content of the chapter with the actual illustration. What you get, though, I have not given up on giving you all the ideas. So I worked really hard to make it accessible, but you get every single one of the ideas that I actually teach in my classes. But it's not a textbook. It's literally for you to start doing right away. One of the things I teach, where I find myself in need to teach in my courses, is what it actually means, what the word innovation actually means. A lot of people are using these words today to mean many different things. I take a very particular, extreme position about it. Innovation is something you perhaps end up with, and I think everybody gets that wrong. Everybody thinks they get it at the very beginning and then they just execute on it, but it's not just that, it's just the outcome. To me, it's just the outcome. And what I actually teach my students in class is what skills do you actually need? What practice do you need to go through to actually get, or at least have a chance to get at that outcome, which is the innovation.